Hi tutors, I wanted to talk about teaching phonics for this video. Why do we teach phonics to our adult tutees? First, we are using a system of bottom-up teaching, which means that we start with details before we lead into higher level learning skills. And this is especially effective for people that don't have the foundations of reading. Phonics-based reading methods require explicit, systematic instruction of sound symbol correspondences. So the reading method and phonics methods that we use for teaching adults that are phonics based expect the tutor or the teacher to be very expressive about how language works, to explain in detail how language works, to make it clear to our tutees, but also to use a system for doing so. There's a lot of research that demonstrates that this phonics-based method is really effective for anyone who is learning how to read or write, but especially so for our adults. Phonics-based reading methods lead to learning more complex skills and eventual comprehension mastery. So we start with the foundations and then we expand the learning process into more complex types of skills. And over time, the student, him or herself, can read independently at a higher level. And lastly, adults learn best when skills relate directly to their learning and life goals, when learning relates to their background knowledge and experiences, and when instruction is systematic and rule-based. Again, this is demonstrated in research regarding adult learning. Okay, so when we are talking about our lowest level, our literacy students who usually don't really have literacy in their own languages, their native languages, or a lot of education in their past, it's best to begin by teaching the alphabet. So you want to start by a session, especially in the beginning, by going through the entire alphabet, focusing more on letter sounds and words. You can mention letter names, but they're not as important for foundational reading skills. So early on, a way to approach the alphabet would be to do something like this. A, apple, and have them repeat. B, baby. K, cup. D, door. And your goal would be, after reviewing all of the alphabet with them through individual letters, that they could do this independently. It is still good to teach letter names, but for reading and writing purposes, it is most important that they understand the sounds. Okay, so let's say that today we're working on learning letter D. First, you want to review the previously learned letters and associated vocabulary. So at this point, they would have learned B and C. They would not have learned A because vowel sounds we teach later on in the beginning literacy instruction. So you would review B, 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 And then show them words that they've already seen. So show a picture of baby and see if they can recall baby. Baby, boy, bat. So see if they can remember the names first, and then you can, if they don't, then you could take that approach. Seek, and then show them the pictures, cup, cap, cat, and see what they can remember. This is from your Teach ABC curriculum that we offer you online. If you click on that, you can go to this wonderful website where you can again review all the pictures and the sounds. Now I would introduce letter D. For your in-person class, show the picture, say the name, duck, and then do the sound of D with the word. D, duck, d, d. Have your student repeat that. D, dolphin, da. Okay? And then have them do all the vocabulary words that you want to focus on for the day. After you do this, it's now important to focus on the skill of reading and writing. So have them trace the letters so they become more familiar with the formation of the letters. And then write the letters at the bottom. And then show them an assortment of letters like this and have them circle the letter D. So this is showing you that they are able to identify the formation of that letter. And this is especially important for reading and writing. Then talk more about the vocabulary, have them trace the words so that they can practice writing the words out, and that also helps them to focus on the picture as well, and they can copy the word again if you'd like. And then listening skills. So if a student is able to hear a sound, they're able to produce it in their spoken language as well. Or at least it leads to being able to produce it better. So with this activity, you're going to have them listen for the letter D. So you would give them this picture, so 1D, 2D, 3D, and they're going to listen. 1, day, day, day. Yes, D or no D? If they hear the D, then they would circle the D. If they don't hear a D, then they would leave it, blank. They wouldn't circle it or cross it out or anything. If, let's say, they don't circle it because they didn't hear a D, then have them write the word so that they can see it and even sound it out for them. D-A, day. And then have them circle the D. After you do that, show them the D vocabulary pictures again and see if they can recall the names of those pictures. Duck, dinosaur, dad. Show them letter cards. So here is an example of some letter cards that you could cut out for them. Show them the card and have them say yes D or no D. So they should be able to identify now, which would demonstrate to you that they have mastery. They should be able to identify D versus B or D versus G, that kind of thing. If not, then you may want to do some more work with letter D. Okay, virtually, we have some wonderful resources. So you can go to the ABC English websites. So here we have the ABC English books. If you do the full preview versions, you don't have to purchase them. We have reading skills stories. We have some books, but really they need to be emerging in their literacy skills to successfully use those. There's a picture dictionary, just a lot of great resources here for teaching virtually. And then this is the spelling information. So once you get to vowels, and not before vowels, they don't offer anything before vowels here. You'd have to use the spelling phonics books. But once you get to short vowel A, then you can start to use these spelling online websites resources. And I wanted to show you an example of something I used to do with students when we first went virtual. After showing them a video with a letter D, so the video showed them lots of vocabulary words, starting with the letter D. Then I would have them do this form. So they would have to identify the letters from other letters. Then they would have to type letter D. You could do this by having them write on a piece of paper and show you, or you could have them do the typing also. And then the last part is I have them listen for the letter D.
Day. Day. Yes, duh, or no, duh. Day.
So then they would need to select the yes to show that they understood. And there's a few that I did here. And so this was maybe not as comprehensive because it doesn't include the review of previously learned skills. But you could add some element of that if you wanted to do that on your own. And if you're interested, here's a list of resources to talk about that discuss what I just explained. So a little bit about adult learning versus child learning, how adults expect learning differently. Some information about comparison studies of a phonics-based English learning system versus a whole language system. And then you can look up the Wilson Language Program, and they have some studies about their program on their website, but I personally have done some Wilson training, and a lot of what I do is based on that training. And of course, ask me questions if you ever need to.